my YouTube family. How are you? I'm glad to see that you're up. Did you have breakfast? It's a little rainy last night. We had some rain. It's nice to see you getting out of the tent. I already had made the fire for you to come out and enjoy your coffee. I think there was coffee too. Today I just thought I'd give you a little story as well, since that we're down in here, because this is the area that it sort of happened in, okay? Let me set the story. The story was that says native girl, she was going to get married. Uh, she wanted to marry the guy. Her and her little girlfriends went out into the bush berry picking, and on her route with the berry picking, she wandered off a little bit, and the Sasquatch nabbed her while she was picking berries. Took her and covered her mouth and dragged her away. But he was using stuff like this. This is what he was using, and I'll take a little bit of it out. According to the story, what Bigfoot did was, I don't know if you can see this. I'll bring a little bit of it out. But you see this? How gooey that is? I'll just let that drop for effect there. Get off of there. Okay? This is really gooey stuff. And this is what she said, this native lady. She said that when she was kidnapped, he would take this off the tree and rub that in her eyes so she couldn't see where she was going, or couldn't see where she was being taken, actually. So the story goes on that he wiped this in her eyes, took her up to his family. There was another native lady that's living with the tribe at the time, and they got along. And she had bored some children by this Sasquatch, and successful. They lived, and this young one that just got captured with the spruce sap on her eyes, she didn't fare as well. She didn't like to eat. She wasn't very happy on being there. She would try to escape as every time that she could. She wanted to get back and get married to her boyfriend. And as the story goes, she had a child, and the child didn't survive. And she cried all the time and complained, and she was getting sicker and sicker all the time. So what the Bigfoot did was, as as crazy as it sounds, women henpecking, right? He decided, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to take you back to your people. And so he put the sap on her eyes again, and took her back within, a few hundred meters of her family camp, where they lived, their village, and let her go in the bushes. And she survived. She did tell the story. She died of a ripe old age. She lived through the experience about being captured by the Bigfoot. Now, the rest of the story, you're probably asking, did she marry? Did she get married and everything after that? I don't know, and I don't know the rules and regs of that clan on how successful she would have been allowed back into the clan, being gone for that long, especially with this kind of a crazy story, or maybe not a crazy story, but an unbelievable story about where she was for the last, year, or I think it was a year that she was gone. I could be wrong. It could be 3, but I think it was a year that she was gone. It would have to be no less than a year, because she did have a child that passed on at childbirth, right? So just a little bit of a story there that I thought I'd share with you. It's fascinating. I don't think it's called the Ruby Creek one. I'll have to look at it, because I think that's another one. It's the other one. The Sasquatch came in to the household It was a house. It was a mix. A white man, a native lady. They had a couple of children, I believe, and the Bigfoot came into their property, and the little children were playing outside. The kid came running back to the mum, and mistakenly was calling it a cow is coming into the yard, and she ran out. She knew immediately what it was. She gathered the children and booked it, and she got across the river. And I think John Green did a story years ago about this incident for that story. Fascinating. There was a whole bunch of trackers that went after it. They did find tracks. They followed it as far as they could. He came back a couple of times to that residence, and what he would do is he would go to their fish barrels. They had salted fish barrels, and he would ransack the fish barrels. And I don't know if you've ever picked up a fish barrel before, but they're extremely heavy. And these things were thrown about and the salmon taken out of them and eaten. But why I think there was a problem there was because Bigfoot doesn't know about salt. And that's what the salmon are, level salt, level salt, level salt type of deal. And I think he was scooping in there. He could smell the fish and he ate it. And well, if you've ever eaten anything that's crazy over salted, I wouldn't like it either. That's probably why he booked it down to the water, had a big drink, and came up and checked it out again. But they did chase him, and there is eyewitnesses to that story as well. There's a couple of gentlemen that were on the tracking trip. So I'll put that on. That's just another story. Oh, just on a side note, when I get back, Mrs. Bigfoot, I just did this out of birch bark here, and you see that? It's a perfect little bracelet out of birch bark that only the Bigfoot King can do. Figure that one out. Have a good day. Just thought I'd let you guys know. This is my land. This is the Bigfoot King's land. I look after all of this right here. Be safe. Enjoy the outdoors. Get off the couch. Bigfoot out.